Hey everyone, welcome back to Williamson Ridge Outdoors. Today we've got a little maintenance project that we're going to be working on. I've got this gate back here that, over time, actually you can see it has been sagging down and it's not lining up with the latch anymore. So what I'm planning on doing is, well, first I went out there to evaluate the problem, and I thought it was some adjustments on my strainers on my H-braces, and that they had loosened up and just kind of let the post and everything kind of start moving. But that's not what it was at all. So what actually was happening here is the welds came loose on this hinge bracket, and this thing has spread apart, and the hinge goes all the way over against this post now. So there's, it just lets it have a whole lot of slop in it. About the only way that I can figure to fix this is actually to go ahead and just cut this off right here and cut off those welds. And then I'm going to smooth this up a little bit, and then I'm going to put that back on and then clamp it back together and weld it all the way around through here so it can't come loose again. But in order to get in here to clean up the metal, I need to take this bracket out of the way. So I'm just going to cut it off, and then I'm going to kind of rework that metal just a little bit in order to close that back down to be good and snug on my hinge. And it should take up all the slop, and there shouldn't be too much movement in there after I close this up. So that's what I'm going to try anyways, and I think that this will keep me from having to buy another gate, but hopefully we can repair it better than what it was originally. So I think I've got that centered up pretty much where the hinge should be. So you can see on this side, it's not all the way over to the gate. And the reason I'm squeezing it actually back here is because I need this to close in a little bit too. That's as low as it goes. So I gotta say, I'm a little embarrassed to show you my welds on this. This is really a learning experience, and this is not a how-to video at all, but I'm just kind of sharing with you, what you run into in owning a farm and the land maintenance and stuff that goes along with it. And, this gate really, it was to the point where it needed to be replaced, but because I have been trying my hand at welding and doing a little bit of that kind of stuff, I thought, well, this might be the perfect opportunity to try to fix something as opposed to replacing it. So I am going to show you my welds, and they are terrible, but I learned a lot from this actually. So that's actually one of the reasons why I'm sharing this, because my hinge is about an 1/8 inch thick, and the gate itself, the wall on it is super thin. And so what I run into, I set my welder for 1/8 inch thinking, I'm welding this, and I ended up burning right through the gate. So that's why there's so much weld all up in through here, because I was actually trying to fill the holes up that I created by burning through it. So I kept turning my heat down, trying to keep from burning through the gate, but the welder will not go down low enough really to just hold constant heat on it and weld that and not burn through it. So what I ended up doing then, and this is where the learning process really came in, is that as I was working on this, I realized that if I just took and hit a little spot and moved a little bit and then let the heat off of it and then moved to another spot and kind of let it run and then moved to another spot until I started building up a little bit and gradually put the heat on it, not just holding it on there constant and running it all the way across. I was just kind of hitting it and giving it a rest and letting it cool and then hitting it again. And that solved my problem with burning through the gate. The welds still are not pretty, but I think that they are very solid actually, and I think that it's going to hold just fine, and probably a lot better than what the original was, because the original just had weld right here on the end of this hinge and that was it. So I think that this kind of welded in there pretty good. It's got good penetration because there was too much heat in order to just weld it constant. So I think I've got the two pieces bonded together well. But like I say, I don't know what I'm doing as a welder. I've never welded before, and this is all just learning. But I wanted to share this because, you know, I'm learning how to maintain the property and do things like this. And, you know, I've welded some thicker pieces of metal, and that's actually a lot easier because you don't have nearly the risk of burning through it like you do on this thin stuff. So learning a technique that will allow you to weld thin stuff and repair that is a big plus. And even though it's not pretty, I think it's pretty solid, and I don't think that I'm going to have any trouble with it. So I'm going to throw some paint on here, and I'm going to take it out and hang it up, and I think that we will be good to go for a pretty good while. So before our repairs, this is pretty much the way the gate was hanging. We were sitting about right here, and this needs to go all the way up here. But that bottom hinge had really sprung out and created a lot of space in there. Okay, so with a few minor adjustments, this actually worked out good. I think the gate is plenty strong, and I think it's going to hold up just fine. So let me show you where it's hanging at now. So pretty much the latch is lining right up and going where it's supposed to go. It puts in there good, locks into place, and there's very little drop to the gate whenever you open it. So I've got the weight sitting on the hinges right now, and where this hinge was all out of shape, you can see it's still too big really for the hole, but I put a spacer back here behind it to keep this from going in towards the post, and that really helped out a lot. You know, before that hinge was resting right up against the tube on the gate, the hinge bracket was actually coming loose, and that weld had broke loose from the gate. So I think this will work out for at least maybe a few more years. I think it'll be perfectly fine. So a lot of people might say, why not just replace the gate and forget about it? Well, that's one of the things that, you know, being able to do repairs and stuff around your property, it really kind of helps you save a lot of money, for one. And, you know, I bought that welder a while back, and I thought, well, this will be a perfect project to at least try it on. And, you know, if I can't fix the gate, then oh well, I'll buy another one then. But these gates right now, it's 14-foot gate. I believe they're right around 150 bucks. I bought a 12-foot gate just a couple weeks ago, and it was 120. I actually paid $179 for the welder. So if I just saved myself buying a $150 gate, I pretty well paid for that welder. Now, it may not be pretty because I'm inexperienced at it, but it worked and it's holding, and I think that it's solid as a rock. I think it's just as solid, or maybe even better than what it was. It's just not as pretty as what it was. But I really don't care, because I just want it to work, and I want it to work well in the way that it's supposed to. So thanks for checking out the video today. Thanks for following along with me. Hopefully it could help somebody out, maybe give them ideas, helping them around the farm. You know, we are a first-generation farm, and you know, everything that we're doing here on the property is from scratch. You know, where our hay operation, we've had to buy equipment and get all that stuff going on and build it up over the last 7 years that we've been here. And then stuff like this, you know, learning to weld and doing these little projects is just that much more that you can kind of get into, you know, being self-sustainable and knowing how to repair things and maybe saving a little bit of money around your property. So until next time, keep it outdoors, and we'll see you on the next one.